course, Deadline Book 1 came out a little more than a year and a half ago, and it really is a true series. It's a true sequel. This is the Deadline series, and it introduces a character who will be reoccurring in several books to come. It's very loosely based on an incident that actually happened to me when I was a police reporter, and a killer developed an obsession with me. I have no reason to believe that he killed in order to get next to me, but that's the premise of the book. The reporter shows up on the scene of a double murder, doesn't realize the killer is still there, just kind of admiring his handiwork, and when he sees her, he says, "That's my favorite reporter. I watch her on television all the time. I just love her." And he just makes this decision that if he keeps killing, he realizes that she's going to keep showing up to cover his crimes. So he's kind of arranging dates in his own mind, thinking that, she's going to keep showing up, he'll get a chance to meet her, and he'll be able to make her his own. So the book 1 leaves off, and everybody has a plan. P.S. Garrett has this really rotten boyfriend she's trying to get rid of. The rotten boyfriend is trying to get rid of her. And there's this killer who's been following her around, who's waiting outside her condo when he sees this Alan George guy walk out, and he realizes, I've got to get rid of him in order to get next to her. So that's where book 1 actually leaves off. Book 2 picks up with the killer, and you finally get a chance to put a face on this killer. You get to see who he is and understand what he's doing. And he's really lamenting. He's actually just committed a crime, and I don't want to give too much away, obviously. He's just committed a crime in Detroit, and he's hiding out in a rural area of Ohio, trying to figure out how, A, he can get back to Detroit because he wants to keep an eye on P.S. Believe it or not, this guy believes she's in danger with this guy, Alan George, who's moved in. So he actually wants to protect her, even though he's a mass stinking murderer, if you can believe it. Anyway, but he's driving around in these back roads of Findlay, Ohio, trying to figure out why he's not been able to get her attention with all of these murders he's committed. And he has a eureka moment, and he goes, oh my gosh, these crimes have been too random. I need to leave a calling card. And that's when he realizes that he has to do something so that she realizes it's the same person doing the killing. It's not an accident that she's always nearby, that there's a reason she's always there to scoop the competition. She just thinks, wow, I'm just really this great reporter. Look at this great luck I'm having with all these stories. She's a police reporter. And what she doesn't realize is this guy is following her around and killing people in her proximity so that she can get there first. He can make her a star and make her fall in love with him. So that's where book 2 actually starts off. It's already been out there, and I just love the emails I'm getting. People who say what happens to Alan George is very satisfying. They like what happens at the end of the book. It really makes them think about the news and how perhaps the news might participate in weaving some of this negative energy that that we constantly crave and we're devouring and we're putting on the air for people to see. And so that's book 1 and that's book 2, and book 2 just came out, and I'm really, really excited. It just went to a second printing. It needs to go to a third and a fourth and a fifth. I can remember when I was writing this, and I thought this would be a great TV series. And I want it shot in Detroit, but I'm going to have to fight through that. And now I realize that if I can get the right pair of eyes on this thing, that because of the tax break that Detroit, that the state of Michigan now gives to the film industry, that everybody's going to want to make it here anyway. So it works out great. But it's a great project. I love it. I'm currently working on the 3rd P.S. Garrett book, but the next book that comes out is a standalone. And the 4th book that comes out is a P.S. Garrett, so she's the main character. So the 4th book is a P.S. Garrett book, and I'm writing 2 books simultaneously, the 4th book and the 5th book. And the interesting thing about the 5th book is, even though it's not a P.S. Garrett book, she actually makes a cameo. And one of the characters in the 5th book makes a cameo in the 4th book. So I'm experimenting with intermingling plot lines, and then allowing them to go in their own separate ways. Just because it's almost a thank you to my audience, to faithful readers, that they will know these characters and realize that they're little small treasures and gifts that I put in for them to discover.